Hello everyone, this is Greyshot17 bringing you another Company First replay brought to you by Chris Chavez. And no, I'm not doing it because he's a Patreon supporter. I'm doing this because he sent me a picture of a 5-star Kubel, which I've been asking everyone in the COH2 community, or at least those who watch my videos, to send me something. Though, yes, his means of doing it was very scrupulous, he at least sent me a picture of a 5-star Kubel, and that I applaud him on. So I picked a replay. And I picked a replay that's going to be something a little different because it deals with a doctrine that I hate, which is perfect. Anyway, this game is a 2v2 on Chateau, was it Chateau de Lovenest? I'm probably screwing that name up, but whatever. Anyway, of course, we have 2 OKW players, 2 Soviets, and let's look at rank real quick and also names. We have Timothy, and Rivon versus Benford. We'll call him Ben, and then Chris. These guys definitely have the advantage by rank, so we'll see how this goes. Also, do want to clarify something. I do want to apologize for the just update video. Unfortunately, because of the update itself, kind of lost a few replays, along with an audio issue that popped up. Fixed it, but still, just like, god damn it. Also, expect a Hearts of Iron series to be showing up on my channel. Leave the factions up to your imagination what I'm going to pick, but I feel like it'll be something really cool. In any case, let's see here. We have a nice push over here with some Stern Pioneers. Trying to go for the building. Nice idea to go for the corner because sometimes they have a hard time hitting stuff in the corner. But in this situation, they just had the range and enough windows, by the way, to really hit them while they're still here. Plus, this building is perfect because you can literally fit 2 squads of conscripts and probably fill every window here and on the side and just open fire. It's really nice. I do like that because also you can put an MG in there and have ample fire support for your units. Which unfortunately kind of pushed him back. So Timothy knows what he's doing. Although he also went the Counterattack doctrine, which again has the great, amazing B4 and the KV1 heavy tank, which again I love. Again, this doctrine is probably one of my favorite, if not, no it is, it's my favorite Soviet doctrine. I'm sure it's not the most powerful, but man oh man do I love the B4. In any case, Rivon also went guard mortar coordination, again T-34 85s. Well, don't have the armor of a KV, but have more firepower, which make them pretty much better. They can go toe-to-toe with Panthers, while a KV can pretty much take a beating from a Panther, but not necessarily stay in the game. Actually, I think they decreased the... No, never mind. No, wasn't it 440? Maybe they increased the fuel. Anyway, whatever. Guards, again, very nice also in this doctrine, which helps them out. Benwick, the special operations highlight would be the command tank that kind of boosts all armor. And also the upgraded also Don you can get with STG-44s. Love it. Very nice flank. Let's see, Chris, yeah. Just going around this way you can use the Kubel to get around these Soviet MGs. Because again, this guy is 2, so he's again trying to kind of spam. But you can use that Kubel to kind of get around it, cause him to retreat. Although he's getting a second one, so he'll have to try to move really quickly. Probably doesn't see it. He's using the recon off this unit to kind of hit them. Otherwise, again, most likely this unit would not have the capacity to see that far, ergo, not really suppress them. Unfortunately, that unit did not live, so that strategy didn't really pay off all that well. I do know Chris Chavez picked the doctrine here, if you're wondering which one I don't like. No, it's not Scavenge Doctrine, it is the First Time Doctrine. Man, I like this doctrine until I actually started used to it. It's one of those feelings where it's like, man, you like something, and then you play it, and it's like, oh, wait, this is not as good. I think I bought this. Yeah, I bought this doctrine. And the reason I liked it was because of the rocket barrage. But honestly, I think between this and the other new doctrine the OKW got, which was the Overwatch doctrine, this one's the poor man's, or like the not as good. But I'll see how Chris uses it. Fortunately, this Kubel is probably going to meet its maker. No, not in this game. He gets a 5-star Kubel, but you know, another game, which again I may or may not post on the screen just to prove that he got a 5-star Kubel. In any case, let's see what Timothy's going. Again, heavy MG spam, which is something the Soviet players will typically use. I know they try to patch it, but it's something that is pretty annoying because, again, even though it has a short area that, of course, the MG can actually hit people with, they have such a quick set down and turn radius that you can just easily cover your flanks. I've seen, like, oh god, it gets referencing World War Z, where people will go, like a square formation with MGs and hold from every angle. And I'm looking at you, TK, well, I'm sorry, God, yeah, TK view, because or no sacrifice, I believe. Anyway, because, oh my god, he would do that all the time, and the enemy would, like, rage quit. It was great. Utterly fantastic. Anyway, we can see here the Allies are having a hard time. This other player is unfortunately just being dominated by Ben. But nice Molotov cocktail. Again, get him out of the building and pretty much destroy them. He can try to fire, but yeah, conscripts, even though they're negative cover, could easily have killed them before they even got close. Interesting location for heavy cover. Actually, really, okay, this is nice. I like this location. It's hidden. It's kind of, you know, it's kind of in an area that you would not expect. Because, again, it's right here. You can reinforce. And I don't think, even here, it's not like you get an AT gun to necessarily fire at this point. Simply because of the fact I think the wall would kind of deflect a lot of the shots. But I do like that placement a lot. Let's see. Chris, you have not really placed anything. You've got yourself a truck. It looks like you're trying to focus on more heavy infantry. Try to maybe get around the MGs, which kind of sucks. I'll say that. We do have an AT gun here, so again, trying to make sure they don't have to deal with OKW armor, which is something you do have to face, let's say, in early Lukes or something, which could be really annoying, especially on this map. Because there's so many different crossways to just run around and, like, dodge shots. So that's why I guess he probably... Oh, wow, he does not AT grenades. Okay. Why you stayed in the building, I don't know. But I guess you thought you could hold out. Guess what? You couldn't. Yeah. Also, fun fact, I just watched Conjuring 2. And I have to say this. It's like someone brought up at a point. It was a really good horror movie. I kind of liked it. It's not necessarily scary, per se. It won't necessarily scare you. But I thought it was, like, really great with tension and just being like... Oh my god, it's like, no, there's no trope. Oh wow, okay, they actually did something really cool with that. So I don't know, that's just me. In any capacity, let's see, again, this is what I was talking about. We're kind of hiding in the corner. That way, of course, the MG kind of has the arc of fire. Very hard to take this thing out. They can just keep firing. Unfortunately, it looks like he replaced, so yeah, this thing's going to get wrecked. It is very close, so yeah, he should probably retreat. Probably doesn't see it, and he's going to get annihilated. That's the problem, and now he's probably going to switch sides and then provide ample. Nice Molotov cocktail. I'm sorry, I'm going to help tell pretty much the Soviets, give their maker their due. That was a really great grenade. Took out a guy on retreat. I'd like the half-track idea, allow them to see, I guess, different placements. Again, if they have an engineer squad, place some mines, you can detect that, which is why it's really good. Also, nice defensive area, because sometimes, again, the enemy will try to push on this location to kill your infantry. At least you have a spot where it's close enough where you can heal it, and then you can also reinforce. Very good. So let's see what's your strategy here. So again, we have a lot of Volk squads over here. Chris also has a lot of Volk squads. We also have a lot of Stern Pioneers. I like that idea, because again, with this doctrine, you get flamethrowers. I'm not saying this isn't worth it, per se. This doctrine kind of helps out people who go heavy Stern Pioneer, which is really, really good. I just don't like this vehicle. I think the heads are stupid. I think it's really, really stupid and easy to kill. And if you have to pick this or a Stuka, why would you even pick this? Why? I just think like the fuel should probably be decreased to a respectable 75. I think 75 fuel would be a great point to put it at. You would see it a lot more, and it would kind of classify it as a lighter vehicle. But as with this, you're thinking of it's like it has to be like a medium grade vehicle. It has to be something really good. For example, like when it's more expensive in my mind than a Lukes, and I could see the Lukes being way more effective against infantry and buildings than this thing. Even light armor, this thing can't even fight anything with armor at all, just infantry. So that's just my opinion. Another push, I guess he tried to throw it again, but kind of failed and missed. Let's see, Timothy getting a... Okay, he's getting a half-track, so again, that could be really good at killing blobs. So I'll give him that. You have a double Stern Pioneer, also medical HQ. My concern would be the fact that you both went medical HQ, but in this capacity, at least, you know, you put it far enough back to where I don't think it'll be that big of an issue. Simply because of the fact that you can heal without going directly to base, so you're not worried. And while they're running up to the front line, because again, you're fighting on the left while Ben's on the right, they'll heal themselves with the medics while going through, which again, I think is a really cool move. The Soviets have pretty much emplaced themselves. It's going to be very difficult to push in. You could definitely push in through this direction over here, which again, I'm surprised Soviet players have tried to put an MG here, try to hold them back, because this is a great point. They can't use, like, you can't sneak up on these guys, most likely. You can maybe come through here, but then this MG might suppress them. So, you know. Also, he probably got this half track. I was thinking he would do it for the quad mount, but no, I think he's going to just do it to reinforce his infantry on the front line. Try to give him a toe-to-toe advantage with the medical HQ, which is something a lot of Soviets tend to do. I also find it funny because, again, while right now they do have a majority of the fuel, Axis still have more points and are cutting off their major territory. Here, which apparently this guy's like, I don't need to take back, that's fine. And with this going on, the Axis are actually getting a lot more resources than the Allies, even though the Allies technically control the more vital points, which, again, I find really, really interesting. We do have some heavy mortars over here. We can see this guy's going to spam them. They have really great range, and they're good. I mean, like, this guy probably will get destroyed. Yep. Pretty much these heavy mortars just destroy infantry. They're also great at killing emplacements, like different headquarter buildings. So yeah, they're great at killing like this thing right here. Wow, actually, hold on. Yeah, as you can see, they're pretty far away, and they're targeting this HQ because they're going to kill it, and they do a lot of damage because of the heavy mortar, the 120. A little bit not as accurate, but man, oh man, I've seen them like one-shot entire squads. This location I'm unsure of because, again, you're kind of in the middle of nowhere. Again, you're providing that ample defense, but I just find that location to be kind of stupid. I feel like maybe long ways out would be more because, again, it has to turn, which also is something I feel like you weren't thinking of. But if you're versing the Soviets, the last thing you want, in my opinion, is something that literally has a long direct sight line at a vital target. Be very simple. The Su-85 and the Su-76 could easily take this point out. So honestly, if I was them, trying to think of like right now, like this wall provide ample defense. I think right here, because that way it would be a little bit harder for them to get like long sight radius because it would be kind of on the edge of the map, and you could easily kind of flank. You could kind of flank that, I think, a little, or like hold the line a lot better. You wouldn't have to worry necessarily about infantry flanking and then taking out the AT or something defending it. While here, I feel like you could, again, if there's AT gun, let's say here, the infantry could come in, take it out, and then something could fire long range, is my opinion. Now, let's see, you have your Stern Pioneers on standby. You have maybe been placing mines. I don't see any mines at any vital positions, so can't really tell. This guy's definitely, as you can see, support spamming. He's using a lot of mortars, which I find is kind of a waste because we do have heavy mortars over here. Again, you could always be like, hey, I'll give you a heavy mortar. You just recrew it. Whatever. Let's see, we have this path track again, kind of reinforcing. Is he gonna save up for heavy armor? Okay, so I was curious to see if he was gonna save up for mechanized. He is not. I wonder if his ally is. He is not. I find that kind of a waste. I do like how this guy's using guards troops. I think they're very vital and great AT. But the problem is the fact that, again, they nice T-70, but again, as you can see, versus the OKW, you still have to deal with the Panzer strikes until the update. And I feel like, especially as the Soviets, you kind of need that heavier armor quicker. And I know sometimes I'll substitute to KV, and I won't get that myself, but when both players don't get it, and especially when one player has the almighty T-3045, which can typically go toe-to-toe with the Panther, it's like, what's the best way to describe it? It's like Goku versus Cell. The Cell Sagas right now with Team 4-Star. It's like a Cell versus Goku. Goku could go toe-to-toe with Cell. He just couldn't defeat Cell. But Gohan could go toe-to-toe with Cell and beat Cell. Kind of spoiler for, a 20-year-old show, but whatever. But it's kind of that thing. It's like you kind of want to have that because even though you can hold them back, it's good to have the thing that can maybe kill and do that vital blow, but you're not essentially allowing that to come in. Okay, I like this idea. Again, nice bundle grenade. STG-44's destroy, which is why I'm just surprised he even took that. I guess he wants to keep them suppressed, but okay, he doesn't have the manpower. Wait, does he? No, that one. I'm sorry. Kind of forgot about that. Anyway, kind of should reinforce. We can definitely tell which Soviet player is doing a little better and a little bit worse. Seems like this guy over here, Ravon, is having a little bit more issue, while this guy over here is actually providing ample defense. Very nice mine placements. I think they're a little too close together, honestly, because one detonates. Maybe they'll set both of them off, but I do like this. I like always setting mines on key junctures, especially these points. Okay, now he's kind of overkilling it. I get what you want to mine, but simple one bomb going off could detonate all three. Kind of spread them out a little bit more is the best thing you want. Very nice job with the Stern Pioneers going up the flank. Actually, not even flank, going up the mid. And instead of Pike's charge that lost all of his men, this actually worked because they weren't expecting it, and they were able to take everything out. I think for Pike's charge, it was a Civil War battle in Gettysburg. It was Pike was leading, again, I hope I'm linking that name correct, led a charge of infantry up the line through Gettysburg in an effort to break the defensive Union line, because the flanks were consistently, hammered, but they were never broken. Very nice job killing those units. Again, when they retreat, they're going up the road, so you can easily do it. In this situation, they had, instead of firing artillery for, was it 4 hours? 2 hours to 15 minutes? Something along those lines. It was a ridiculous amount of time. They just moved up in the middle without anyone knowing. Like, oh, shoot. There's actually, people there. Don't get me wrong, that's a giant open field. I don't see why you would continue. Like, whoever had the bright idea to charge a field head on during the Civil War with gunfire is probably the same guy who, you know what? Actually, I take it back. I actually just learned something with the French doctrine where the French had an honor doctrine where during the initial bout during the World War I, they lined up and charged German lines. The Germans like, all right, machine gun fire, and they're all in rows, like actually like normal. You know how normal soldiers would fight, and the Germans are like, yeah, right, and just machine gun, and destroyed a lot of French forces. I know you want to watch a World War II game to hear about World War I tactics, but hey, it's interesting. And with Battlefield 1 coming, actually E3 is essentially coming out when this is being released, so I can't wait to hear all this new stuff. Nice Stuka, we can definitely see he did a lot of damage. Problem is, he's probably gonna bring up Conscript Squad and reinforce all of his guys, but the constant reinforcing is the key here, because again, it's not memory, although memory helps. What you can do here is reinforce he can reinforce all he wants, but with the Stuka fire, you're doing so much damage that by the time, again, a minute passes for him to reinforce all of his men, the Stuka can fire again. And Chris, I do like the idea of you going Stuka. I find it kind of unnerving that you go double Stuka. I feel like that's a little bit of a waste. In my opinion, I feel like you should not go double Stuka. I feel it's a little too much. That being said, that guy should probably have not pushed in a engineer squad half dead and have it like just pretty much wrecked. Also, unfortunately, I think with it. Oh no, you get the flamethrower and the support package. That's awesome. Su-76 providing AT along with this. Like I said, I feel like you should spread them out a little bit further. Like, because again, right here would be perfect, and we have a Stuka firing, so. Again, he should probably get out of the building. He won't do that. He's going to lose that unit, lose the AT gun, and almost lose the other AT gun. Yeah, like I said, there's a point of going defensive, and these guys are just like, he's like, I can go defensive. I'm going to win this. And as we just saw, that failed, because all Chris did was like, all right, if my infantry can't push through his defensive line, just get artillery. Boom, bada, bing, you got it. Okay, defensive line over here, punch through mid. Also, press on the weak point. Now, again, we still have the T-70 over here. Again, the Soviets are kind of focusing on lighter armor, I guess, in an effort to win the battle quickly. And I feel like, again, that was a mistake. I feel like, again, if you're dealing with the OKW, you kind of want the better equipment, especially when you have already such better armor and, well, yeah, just better equipment overall that can deal with it. Because, again, the heavy mortars can deal with the infantry, and the MGs can deal with the infantry. You need the, like, T-34s and the KVs to really just, help you win. Also, disappointed we have not seen a B4, just going to point out there. Anyway, because this line's pretty much been broken, he can move up troops pretty much really easily. He may reinforce all these points. I feel like that would be a mistake, because, again, these Stukas can fire very quickly and will probably destroy them. Which is funny, because it's not because of a doctrine, although, again, 19 kills with one and 9 kills with the other. So, actually, not too shabby for getting just, like, initial Stuka firings for probably both. T-70 trying to kill some guys on the retreat. Typical. Wow, really? You still Maxim? Alright, very cool. But like I said, yeah, I just find it very... Oh, wow. KV also just being annihilated. And now rear shot with the cannon river can knock out the engine. That would be hugely negative against that, because that's what, 420 and 145. Yeah, that would literally throw the Soviet player out of the game. You still have to worry about mines in a couple key locations, but I think a lot of them were dead. Yeah, a lot of them did detonate. Unfortunately, it looks like it killed a few OKW, but I just find their defensive strategy good, but they needed to adapt and focus and press, and they didn't do that. A good Soviet player moves up their defensive line and pushes the enemy, while a bad Soviet player will typically hold, thinking they've won or they are winning, and it turns out to bite them later. Again, I just imagine a T-34 coming through the brush and taking these two things out. It would just be great. And that's what I typically use T-34s for. They're cheaper armor, but they still pack a punch, so you can send them on riskier missions. And even if, let's say, the enemy is going to kill it, you can ram as a final-ditch effort to neutralize the enemy and to cause substantial damage. Now, I'm assuming... Nope, I thought one of them would have Minesweeper. I was proven wrong, and it did almost kill that unit. But now, again, this guy can move up, be like, oh, I'll take that mortar, I'll take that AT gun, or better yet, with the scavenge ability, he gets munitions, so we can just decommission it and save up for something. Now, Chris, you have the mechanized. Wait, you have mechanized? I mean, I was assuming you have the mechanized, but where's... Okay, it's here. You're in your base, like, okay... Well, that's not necessarily against a base thing. I think that's a decent move, because on this map it's so tiny that pushing up at like this guy did almost cost him his base. And he's not even that far up with it. He's like literally like a sector away from his base. So again, I don't necessarily feel that's a bad move to actually keep him confined in the base, but though in bigger maps it's probably better to keep him farther away. This idiot... This is stupidity right now. Let's line all three mortars up in a straight line and never take out the enemy. Right, because that's really going to work for you. Very nice Stuka, by the way. Knock out the building. A direct strike can take out light vehicles. Why I took out the half-track. It can hurt lighter armored units, which is very, very good. T-70 trying to get some nice pop shots on the... the Oval-Soldaten. But the problem is T-70 is very good killing infantry, and since it's vet 2, will just make it a lot harder. How many squads do you have? So you have just one. Okay, you're not doing as well. But yeah, Ben's been probably taking a lot more losses. I mean, he has used some manpower for that retreat point. But I'm assuming, again, I'm making the assumption here, that he's saving up for a King Tiger. The reason I go for this is he could easily get a Panther, but he hasn't. So... While I think the Command Panther would be a good unit, I feel like he has enough infantry support that a King Tiger would really be better. But we'll see. I mean, he could go the Command Tank, and that could really help. But he doesn't really have that much armor. Like, if you have a Command Tank, it's better on, like, larger games because you can provide ample support for your allied players. Again, OKW players will typically use Panthers, maybe some, definitely King Tigers, and the occasional Panzer IV or Sturm Tiger, something along those lines. And with the Command Tank, it's great because you can boost their speed. I believe that's what it does, right? Correct? The speed? Sight and maneuverability. Okay, yeah. So it increases essentially how effective they are moving into a battle and leaving the battle, which is great for for spearheading a large force in and allowing them to get out. Also maybe firing and kind of counteracting Su-85's inherent ability to see farther than a Panther, but even though the Su-85 is not necessarily stronger, since the Panther can't see it, it would be very good. Very nice job using those infiltration grenades in a nice pocket, and with the extra fire grenade, that essentially just wiped a squad. Again, now he has to stay out of battle for an extended period of time to get those back. It's still really good. And once again, we have an idiot because he's pretty much spamming all his mortars together in one area. Why you do that when the guy's Stukaing you? I don't understand. Continuing on, Chris now 2-star and 1-star respectively. Again, typically when I see people spam Stukas, they'll have one Stuka that'll be like a 2-star and the other 2 suck. I've seen this so many times, it's ridiculous. And then they also are terrible at hitting. this guy, again, Chris, has been pretty accurate with his Stuka strikes, which I give him credit for. And we do have the great B4. Fired a shot off. Where's he going to... Did it hit somewhere? I don't see anything. Maybe here? I'm not too sure. Could have. But, yeah, on this map it is shorter, so the B4 can be a lot better. And you do have 2 KV1s. And I may be, like, again, saying something like, oh, Greyshot, I thought you liked the KV1. I do, but I also consider the fact that the KV is great for versing and dealing with the, like, Volk squads, because, again, a lot of Panzer strike shots will bounce off the front, and it would be just very effective. The problem I have with it is when people spam them, and thinking that's the end-all be-all, and they'll win the game by spamming these tanks, when in actuality they're kind of sealing their own tomb, because the KV can take hits. It's kind of like what people did with the what was the tank? Easy 8 Jackson combo, but that was really, really bad. The idea was that you have an armored unit take a lot of hits, and something in the back kind of snipe stuff. It's kind of having that support player that really helps out, but then you have the tank in the front. Support players either healing the tank or providing support for the tank. In that situation, you have a bunch of KVs. They're essentially the tanks. Like, again, think of an MMO or something. That big, heavy tank. But when versing another tank, they're not good at their dishing damage. They're good at taking damage. You need something that dishes that damage, such as an Overwatch and attacker. And in this scenario, they don't. They have a support ish light rolls. They're not even really support. They're kind of just like there. I would not consider an SU-85 like SU-76 a good attacker unit. Like I said, it's a light support unit. You need a heavy support or heavy attack unit. You just don't have that. Hopefully my, again, my constant comparisons are, making sense. I try to make it make sense. Okay, nice idea with the T-3045, because again, T-35, you would think, oh, it could, do some major damage. Okay, at least you did the smart move and you sacrificed it when you knew it was going to die. But this is a situation where it's like, well, you could have done a lot better if you, had support. Where was that support? Oh, you kind of left it. Also, if you do Katyusha fire at this thing, you are incredibly stupid. Because the goal is not to hit this thing while retreating. Your Katyusha won't kill it, that's for sure. A direct shot may hurt it, but it won't kill it, not even by a long shot. So what do? Okay, well, this is what you could possibly do. You could wait for it. You could use a recon, I don't know, somehow. See where it's being healed, and then you open fire on it with a Katyusha at the squad healing it. Now, that being said, this guy's mechanized. It's a strategy. He lost a KV, I'm assuming from some type of AT. If he lost, actually, if this guy lost from a B4 shot, I would laugh so hard. No, nope. He did, unfortunately, he did lose his building, so I'm assuming the B4 kind of did that. I'm assuming by the crater. And that's actually pretty good, because that'll, again, limit what the OKW has and allow them to keep fighting without necessarily them pushing. But the problem is this guy doesn't need to, like, worry. He has enough forces. He is a king, for God's sakes, that can take enough. By the way, the king is like, it's literally a take a lot of damage player and also a dish out damage player. The problem is just versing a lot of other units is the problem. Backing up. B4 fired. Hit, I think, this area? Yeah, I'm unsure. But now, again, we have, the heavy mortars with the attempt. Once again, I feel like this guy's clumping, and again, there's a difference between a clump and a spam. A spam is having a lot of units and kind of charging. A clump is when you just have a lot of units and it's just like all together within a tiny area. Because it's like you're essentially being like, okay, hit here and you're going to kill all my units. And you're telegraphing that, and it's really obvious. Also, really surprised he didn't use Mark Target. He has 500 munitions. I just realized he could have used Mark Target with the T-3045 and probably did a little bit more damage. Very nice. KV can take a definitely handle an AT gun, but nice to have that ample infantry support to make sure you get rid of those AT guns. Also, really nice how he like fired on it, like threw on the brush, and then like retreated. Nice flank with the Panzerschreck forces. This thing will probably die. Yep, there it goes. Very nice shot through the brush once again. And, well, again, we have Chris here near PopCap. We have Timothy with pretty much nothing. He's firing a shot. We'll see where that goes. I'm assuming he's going to try to hit this. That was a good hit. I'll give him that. That was a decent hit. Nothing as, awesome as when I use it, but, just, it was okay. Anyway, but yeah, just like the marked vehicle would have been really helpful helping attack that king, or just other armor in general. With the king here, you can't just send a bunch of infantry in. There's also, this thing will not only kill infantry, but the the Obosodan with the SCG-44s will just tear apart conscripts like no one's business. Yeah, and then you send in this thing by itself. What do you think this thing's gonna do? Exactly. It doesn't even have the DPs. So, I don't know. This guy, again, we're gonna see Ben pretty much push into the enemy. We haven't really seen rocket barrage. I feel like that would be pretty good. Killing them. Are you kidding me? This is not the time to build another B4. As much as I like the B4, this is the wrong time. I also like how this thing is like, I'm gonna fight a king tiger. I'm gonna go and head on and apply my gun directly to his frontal armor and win the game. And then the king's like, yeah, I can pierce you, idiot. The KV is only good when the enemy can't pierce its armor. When the enemy has a tank that can pierce its armor, it's not as good. Also, what's stopping the enemy, aka let's say Chris, from, excuse me, sorry, literally walking up and just being like, well, I'm just gonna, annihilate you. This guy failed because, again, he tried defensively and didn't get the heavier stuff, nor did he push when he should have. And then he also got KVs thinking these heavy tanks are gonna win in the game, when in all honesty, that's just simply not the case. They're good at taking damage. We need something that deals a lot of damage. B4 shot doing a little bit. That one did a lot, and that's why the B4 I always get, because it does a lot of damage directly. Now I have these mortars here. Again, this is how this guy failed. Double King Tiger, very nice. And before you say, oh my god, Greyshot, they're just spamming heavy tanks. How many heavy tanks has the Soviet player spammed? Yeah, those MGs are not going to help you, dude. They're not going to help you. Double King Tiger, you're not going to... Oh, now you get an SU-85. Yeah, you just... And this guy failed because he clumped up his forces in a... Oh, nice shot. In a similar fashion. And it just didn't work. Oh my god, please. 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 Make my day. Make my day. Yeah, the Stuka Barrage will take out a Jackson, which is why I initially liked it. But it's a thing when once people found out and saw that, they expected it and just moved their tank. It's still good at killing like ambulance locations and like vital points of, let's say, fortifications, but the doctrine itself is not worth a direct strike. The sector attack that Overwatch has is way more valuable, and this is what I mean. It's like two heavy tanks and the tank destroyer moved in. The King Tigers are like, I'm sorry, what are you doing right now? Just stop it. Just stop it. You're not doing anything. Just stop. And they pretty much destroyed the Soviet forces entirely. I think that was a good game. Thank you, Chris, for saying that in. And I think you both played really well. Chris, you managed to kill that guy's defensive line really well and press on the enemy, especially going through the mid where he wasn't very strong. And Ben did a really good job at targeting and kind of neutralizing key pockets of resistance, and even like fighting the heavy mortars. I would say which was pretty good. Even though, again, his infantry had a harder time than Chris, I still feel like he did a good job. Timothy, again, you should have pushed when you didn't, and you should have gotten other things to support, which you never did. Your KVs. And Ravon, I feel like, again, you were too spread out. You clumped your forces too much. even more so than Timothy in some locations. And like I said, you focus too much on light armor and should have gotten heavier armor, especially to capitalize on the T-34-85 and push the enemy back. But let's see, overall, we can definitely see that Raven did a lot more damage and a lot more kills. So, again, for the 50th time, or 500th, or 5 millionth, rank doesn't mean everything in this game. I wish Relic, I know this might be an thing that they may be looking into, but did a system similar to Overwatch, where you can play the game, but every, like, let's say 3 months, I feel like 3 months is a good part, or month. Monthly maybe also be good. It resets your rank. I'm not saying you have an achievement based on rank, saying you have to get to this rank in a month, and then, of course, you lose it all. It's like, oh, I can't get the achievement. But you could do something where it's like, okay, I haven't played this month, so my rank's going to be lower. This person played a lot this month, their rank's going to be higher. And if you want to combine the two, have maybe how many years you've played COH2, or when you bought the game, like similar to Halo, where it shows you kind of when you started playing Halo and your service record. Again, Halo service record is amazing, but you have when you started playing and how many hours and what game. So let's say this person has a huge rank in this game, but they've only played custom games or public games. That would be differ from a person who plays 1v1 ranked games. It's something to think about. I think Relic is already looking at patching, and I think that's something that either this game or their next game would probably be very interested in. Also, one last thing, apparently there's a Halo Wars 2 beta coming out on the 13th, which is 2 days from now, time of recording. I would love to play that game if that is the case, and I will absolutely have coverage if that game is out. Right, and again, I'll have Hearts of Iron as well, so expect 2 new strategy games to be on my channel. I'm just so happy. Hearts of Iron 4 is really good. I've been really enjoying it. No, I've not been paid by the person in the development studio or publisher to say that. I just think it's a good game. And then the Halo Wars, I love that game. I just hope that it's just as good as the original, if not better. In any case, that's game. I want to thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Hello everyone, this is greyshot going over your comments. Alright, Chris Chavez, sorry about your butchering your last name. A few times I ever saw the Allies push the Axis all the way back to their base. I actually lost track of how many times the Axis did that. Yeah, again, Axis usually have, again, all these comments kind of go over that, but Axis have an easier time, late game, and, well, it's not necessarily fun to verse that when, of course, you're versing a bunch of heavy tanks. Hi, can you give me your opinion on the Pak-43? Love it. Love it can fire through buildings. Very susceptible and very easy to kill, but I absolutely enjoy it. How can I send in a replay? You can look up on my channel literally how to send a replay. I'll copy that and show you in a second. Hello friend, can you tell me which version to buy? Let's see. I want to say there was a version on Steam that had all the DLC and everything with it. Honestly, if you just want to get started, getting the version, the base version for like $5 is probably what you want to do. You can either go on Steam or G2A if you want to look for a sale. But overall, start off with the base version, maybe get the Western Fronts as well so you get most of the factions, get into it. And if you like it further, I would say maybe get Ardene's Assault if you want a single player challenge. Don't really get the Theater of War stuff, nobody really plays that. And that's my overall recommendation. I like Blizzard mats, thank you. Is it me or the video skipped sometime? No idea what you're talking about. Let's see. Hey Greyshot, have you considered taking advantage of Bofer? Alright, what is this? Really? That's the sight radius of a Bofer? Huh. That's really far. Gotta be honest, that is really far. Alright. I didn't know the Bofer had that long of a sight radius. And finally, didn't this map use only one fuel point? I believe so. In any case, again, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys leave your comments, and I'll see you next time.